fully explain how the English Football League pyramid works, whether you are an avid football fan or you have never watched a game of football in your life. No matter what brought you to this video, you will come away from it with much more understanding of how the football pyramid works, a little bit more about the beautiful game. I'm going to tell you a bit about the team I support when we get to that. But if that sounds like a bit of you, then sit back, relax, close your eyes and listen whilst I explain to you how the football pyramid works. Now, to give you a general overview, I will first put up a graphic on screen for you right here. There are 7 tiers. 7 tiers. First time doing this. You've got the Premier League at the top, the Championship, League 1, League 2. These top 4 are recognised as football leagues, English football leagues, and everything beneath that is called the non-league. Now, I'm going to leave this on screen for you to digest. If you choose to open your eyes to see it, that is completely up to you. But all it is a visual breakdown of how the league works. And to give it an official definition, the Football League is a hierarchical structure of leagues linked by promotion and relegation. And this is where clubs can move up or down freely based on their performance. The system begins with the top tier, Premier League at level 1, followed by the 3 divisions of the English Football League, as I've just explained, the top 4. And below this professional level is non-league football, starting with the National League at level 5, and many subsequent regional leagues continuing the structure all the way down to grassroots level. And it is hypothetically possible to start your own team from nothing and make your way up to the very top, although, as you'll find out, it's extremely hard to do, and very few teams that have not been around for 100 plus years have done that. So, we know that now it is a pyramid structure. How do teams actually move through it? Well, let's start with the very top. The Premier League, the one that everybody's heard of, right? You see the Premier League plastered all over the telly. Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, Tottenham, Brentford, Aston Villa, the list goes on. Everybody knows this league. If you clicked on this video, you must have heard of the Premier League, and it has 20 teams within it. The smallest amount of teams out of any league. And each team plays 38 games per season. That's 19 games at home and 19 games away. And if you win a game, you gain 3 points. If you draw a game by having an equal score to your opponent, both teams get 1 point each. And if you matter how famous they are, if they are in the bottom 3 bracket, they will move down to the second tier of football, and that is the Championship. Directly beneath the Premier League is the EFL Championship. EFL standing for English Football League. And now this league, like the following 3 leagues after it, have 24 teams and 4 more teams than the Premier League. It's one of the most stressful and competitive leagues in the world. So many teams on the brink of immortality, being in the top league in England and arguably, historically, the top league in the world. And now the same point structure applies to this. The highest scoring team finishes at the top and the lowest at the bottom. However, what makes this so competitive is there are only 2 automatic promotion spots. Number 1 and number 2 in the league go up to the Premier League. And then number 3, 4, 5 and 6 enter what is called a playoff. And these 4 teams play each other based on their position. So if you finish 3rd, you will play 6th. If you finished 4th, you will play 5th. In a home and an away leg, you get 1 game at your home ground, 1 game at your away ground, and the overall winner of those 2 home and away games plays the overall winner of the other 2 teams, and they come together in what is called as the playoff final. And the winner of the playoff final is the 3rd team that goes up to the Premier League in the following season. And those 3 promoted teams replace the 3 relegated teams from the Premiership. So as you can imagine, with the amount of money and status involved, it's a very, very big deal getting promoted to the Premier League. And it's very, 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 very difficult because of how competitive it is and how good the football is at this level. Now, obviously everything is moving, and I mentioned the bottom 4 teams. This is the main reason why the Football League is so hard. The bottom 4 teams get relegated to the next tier below. And the tier that those 4 teams get relegated to after the Championship is League 1. League 1. And League 1 is a lower standard of football than the Championship. You know, the lower you go, the worse the quality is. But that's not to say it's not competitive. Now, League 1 also has 24 teams, but League 1 has 4 teams that can be promoted and 4 teams that can be relegated. So this is why there is the most movement from leagues, because 8 teams are out, 8 new teams come in every season, no matter what. And I must say, the level, especially this season, the level of the playing field is very even. There's not many football leagues where bottom of the league play top of the league and you just don't know what's going to happen. Any team can win. Everybody's to a relatively similar standard. And sometimes the underdogs can succeed and make that step up to the Championship. Personally, I think lower league football in the UK is the best football. It's where you get smaller clubs with smaller fan bases, less money, and you get pure passion amongst the fans. People are there because they love the team that they're showing up to support, regardless of the glory or how well they might be doing. Now, my football team is in League 1. I support Port Vale, as shown by this coaster here, saying Up the Vale. And Port Vale are currently absolute rock bottom of League 1. We're not doing very well this season. still love going to the games, I still love supporting my team, and I have faith we have enough time left in the season to turn it around and get back to safety out of the bottom 4 relegation spots. But some teams that you might have heard of in League One, you have Cardiff City from Wales, you have Bradford, Reading, Wigan Athletic, they used to be in the Premier League, Barnsley, Plymouth Argyle, Leyton Orient, Rotherham, Luton Town, who have come down in the last 2 seasons. Luton Town were in the Premier League 2 seasons ago and they came down to the Championship, and now they're in League One. That is how competitive the Football League can be. You can fall from great heights very, very quickly. So, I hope that gives you some more context, a better idea. And now we move on to the 4th tier of English football, and that is the League 2. That is League 2, the step below League 1. And this league has slightly less movement, the same amount of movement as the Championship, because 4 teams are promoted from League 2, but only 2 teams are relegated from League 2. So 24 teams in this league again, and only 2 get relegated and 4 get promoted. It has the same playoff structure as League 1 and Championship, so the 4th team to be promoted has to win the playoff. However, only having 2 relegation spots means it's slightly easier for the teams in the Football League to stay in the Football League, and breaking through from below the English Football League is very, very hard because only 2 can be promoted up. But that is, in principle, the top 4 leagues in the English Football League. Now, I'm going to flash up another graphic on the screen and you'll be able to see a little bit more about how these leagues work. You can see the top 4 here. The top 4, as I've said, are the Football League, and when you get relegated down from League 2, you end up in what is called the National League, and this one is step 1. So, this is step 1 of the National League. You're no longer at professional level. I say in quotation marks because players still get paid, but it's technically not the professional level. And the National League is, again, a lower quality of football, but you still get some incredible football being played. You might know Wrexham, who are now in the Championship. 4 years ago they came from the National League. They've been promoted 4 seasons running, and they've been bought by Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds. They've had investment, but sometimes money does not get you everything in football. Money does not get you everything. You need to have the investment in facilities, in the right backroom staff, everything. So credit to Wrexham for doing that. But you may be familiar with that story, whether you're British or from America. You will have likely heard of Wrexham making it so far, so quickly. I need to take a moment to breathe. Okay, so the National League, it's kind of the great divide. It's the bridge between professional and semi-professional. Some players do work full-time, others work day jobs and play part-time. However, with two teams being relegated, as you can see, from League 2 into the National League, only 2 can be promoted, and the top team gets automatic promotion, and the second to top is a playoff, as I have described. So, the most competitive league with the least amount of promotion spots. And for the rest of the leagues below the National League, it follows 2 teams promoted, 4 teams relegated, so it still keeps the cycle of teams games now only hold a few hundred people. Sometimes you might just play on a Sunday league pitch where you can only sort of stand and watch the game. You know, it's leagues away from the heights of the Premier League where you see tens of thousands of fans. This is where the real hardcore people arrive. And following that, you divide even further. You have the Northern Premier League, the Southern Football League, which is Premier Central, Premier South, and I'm going to push this, the Isthmian League, Premier League Division. So, let's dive into these leagues a little bit more. If I just grab my notes. So, as I say, these are split into regional for a handful of reasons I mentioned. So the National League North and South, they're both parallel, but they're geographically based. And beneath those, you have the regional leagues I've just mentioned. And they become increasingly more regional, centralising where these clubs are from. And the movement between these is still too promoted, 4 relegated. And you end up with 9 tiers in total. And this is how you bring up clubs from grassroots, from nothing, and it's a climbable structure all the way to the top. That's kind of the roots of what English football is based on, and the root of how clubs came to be at the top, if you're still with me. So, below these steps, below these 9 tiers, the pyramid branches out into further numerous regional and county level leagues, with step 6 having 17 divisions and over 300 clubs. It really does spread out, but there is the opportunity to still bring it up. Look, I'm not going to overly deep dive because it's where my knowledge begins to trail off, and I think it might overwhelm some people who are not familiar with football. So, with that in mind, I hope that you learned a few things about the English Football League. There's so much more to talk about. There's European football, there is national, international competitions, there's things like the FA Cup, which is another fantastic tournament where small teams can play really big teams. And my team, Port Vale, played Arsenal in the Carabao Cup recently. That was an experience, watching our bottom of the third tier team play like the top of the Premier League. We lost 2-0, which I think it's a respectable result considering the golfing quality. But yeah, there's so much more to be spoken about. So if you enjoyed the football-based content, let me know. I'll be happy to make more and do a better job of explaining maybe the nitty-gritty, but this is meant to be just entry-level knowledge. So thank you very much for watching. Please smash like and subscribe, and consider becoming a channel member if you do enjoy the content, and you'll get early access to videos and some exclusive members-only content coming your way very soon. So, I'm going to sign off now. I've been Rob, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.